Hello, everyone. This is Mrs. Mezzo, and I just wanted to fill in those of you that weren't able to join us on Wednesday for whatever reason. I understand that some of you had some technology difficulties. The link was not working, so I'm so sorry that you couldn't meet for our first meeting. If you did, in fact, get a chance to join us, that's great. We're going to move our meeting next week to 1:30 to accommodate some of the students who have conflict in scheduling. So 1:30 on Wednesday, and hopefully by then we'll all have settled in on a book and we'll get started in small groups. I understand that it was overwhelming because there were so many people on the link, but once we actually get into the book club, you should have only one or two other people in your group. So I think it'll flow nicely. We're going to use the exact same link for next week. So your parents have that link, and I have been sending emails to them regularly, and they should be able to link to that. The first thing we did this week was to quickly introduce ourselves. We all grabbed a shoe that best represented either our personality or lifestyle. So that was a fun way of kind of getting to know everybody on the call. Next, we talked about setting norms. And we also talked about establishing a rationale. Why equity and social justice now? And one of the things that I explained is that I feel it's my responsibility as principal of the building to ensure that we are learning about different people from different backgrounds and learning about different perspectives and making sure that we're not just telling one story, but that we're hearing all the different parts of the story. We also know that there has been a great deal of political unrest in our news. And I, for one, stand firmly with those who are outraged by some of what we've seen recently. And I support the Black Lives Matter movement and some of the peaceful protests that we've had in our community. So I certainly want to make sure that all of our students at City Hill are educated and aware of social justice issues so that they can act upon them. After that, we got into groups and we looked at some of the trailers of the books that we could potentially be reading. And then we did not have time for our closure activity, so we'll move that over to another day. We didn't spend a lot of time on norms. It's something that I glossed over, so we will be revisiting this particular slide the first part of our next meeting. And you can read through these slides on your own. Here are some of the book titles that are being offered. It was really important to me that we didn't have to read the same book and that we could all choose our own book. So the first 5 books here, if you actually click on this PowerPoint, you will get a link to a video which introduces you to the trailer. And you can watch a little video. That's sometimes helpful when you're trying to pick a book to look at the video trailer. So these first 5 books, I think, are maybe I wouldn't say younger, but they have less mature content and less explicit maybe language in them or violence. So they have maybe more of a PG rating. Whereas our next group of books might fall into that PG-13 or even perhaps an R rating. And these have a little bit more violence in them and strong language, maybe drugs and alcohol. I did send out a rating to your parents, but I just wanted everyone to be aware of the content before you chose your book. These titles also have a link to a video trailer, so you can watch that. And then we didn't get to our final closure activity, but you could be thinking about a song that inspires you around the issue of social justice. And perhaps between all of us, we can come up with different songs and we can create our own social justice playlist. So that really concludes what we did on week 1. If you weren't able to join us, I wanted to make sure that you had an understanding. Some of you are feeling less comfortable with reading and sharing in the large book club, but you're going to read some titles on your own. That's great. I encourage that, and I think that will be fine too, as long as we're all reading this summer and we're learning a little bit more about social justice and equitable issues. Okay, I hope to see you next Wednesday.